In this video, I'm going to give you my 1-year review on the Simplicity Courier zero-turn mower. I'm going to go over it from front to back, give you the pros and cons, and by the end of the video, you should know if this mower is going to be the right mower for you and your yard. Starting up here in the front, you can see that there is suspension on both wheels. Although it isn't independent suspension like the Simplicity Citation, it does absorb a lot of bumps. This is the 48-inch deck version, and I highly recommend the 40-inch deck over all the other decks offered. You do want it to stick out a little bit past the wheels, otherwise you're going to be doing a lot of trimming with your weed eater and push mower. Here at the back of the mower, you do have suspension on both wheels as well. And it's not independent back here either, but it does absorb the bumps. It makes a bumpy yard feel pretty smooth. If you look down there at the hitch mount, this metal here is pretty thin, and if you do tow something quite a bit, you are going to elongate that hole. Just keep that in mind. Now if we look at the sitting area, or we'll say the cockpit area, it's very comfortable. The seat is mesh, so even on these really hot sunny days, you don't get a lot of sweat off of that seat. I'm 6'4", and this fits perfectly comfortable to me with the seat all the way back. Over here you do have dual cup holders, which is kind of hard to drink anything when you're using a zero turn unless you hold both levers with one hand. Gas fills right here, gas gauge right here. One of the cons, the gas gauge is not very accurate. It will show empty, and the gas tank is actually about 3/8 full. Now this rear cargo area, your dealer may tell you this is kind of a dump box. It's really a pain in the butt if you're going to use it as a dump box. You have to pull both pins. There's really not a hinge on the back side, and a little bit of weight in here actually will make this fall off if you use it as a dump box. I'll use it just to carry some stuff around the yard. That's about as far as the extent goes for the usage of this back carry area. Whenever it comes time to charge the battery or change the battery, simply flip the seat up. Battery is held on by a kind of a quick strap. Unbolt it, battery pops right out. I pull the battery out in the winter months, and it's easy to pull out and put back in. Now down on the bottom of the engine, right here is the oil filter, and this is a con. This is a real pain in the butt to change the oil filter in this thing. It's very hard to get tools in there. It's almost sitting on the frame. Right there, I can barely get a finger underneath there. When you do unscrew it, doesn't matter how much oil you've gotten out, you get oil all over your tractor. And since we're talking about changing oil, you actually have an oil drain right here with a plug up there on the top. Pretty easy to drain the oil on this side. This hose just stretches over. You don't get any oil on the motor at all on this side over here. It's just the oil filter. That's the main problem. You get oil all over the tractor. So I'm going to demonstrate how to change cutting heights. All you do is pull this pin, and you put the pin wherever you want the cutting height to be. You simply push down on this lever, pull this pin, and we'll say we're going to change the cutting height over here to 3 inches. Drop the pin down, you move this lever over, and the deck goes down to the desired height. Now when you're sitting on the tractor, here on the right side you have an hour meter, PTO engagement, there's your ignition key, and your throttle. Now if you push your throttle all the way up, you'll feel an indent, and you go all the way up, that's your choke. You pull it back to the indentation, and now you're off choke. So when you move your throttle, it goes right there into full throttle position, and you actually have to push a little bit harder to get it to choke. So this particular model starts up very easily. Now if you notice your tractor tracking too much left or too much right, you can adjust the knobs right down here. You'll turn them in or out, whichever way you want it to go, faster or slower, and you'll get this tracking perfectly straight. Also, another big con for me, the parking brake is actually when you have the control levers all the way out. Well, if you trailer this down a bumpy road, these things pop right back in and disengages the parking brake. The parking brake is one of the worst designs I've seen on a mower. It's not a killer, but it's just something that could have been prevented. you'd like a pull lever, something that has a little bit stronger engagement. As you can see, I barely got to touch them and it takes the parking brake off. So all in all, this has been a great little mower. I do have a Simplicity Citation XT. That's kind of comparing apples to oranges. It's like driving a Yugo versus driving a Cadillac. I do have a Simplicity Prestige and Legacy, and they're kind of totally different than what this mower is as well. Now, price point on this is hit the mark. For what you pay for, you get exactly what you're paying for. Just make sure, I highly recommend the 48-inch deck. They may have a 52-inch deck out for this year, I'm not sure. You may want to check that out, but definitely don't get the 42. It's just way too narrow, and like I said, you're going to have to trim up to trees and brickwork, landscaping, because you're not going to get very close with that deck. Motor is very strong. I can mow full throttle and it doesn't miss any grass blades or anything like that. The biggest con to me is when you change the oil, you're going to get oil all over the mower. Maybe use, the next time I do it, I may use like a paper plate and make like a homemade funnel of some kind. But something like that could be avoided. The parking brake. Now if you're not going to trailer it around, parking brake doesn't mean anything to you. If you got a trailer between like your house and a rental house, sometimes like I do, the parking brake is pretty much useless. Other than that, it's a great little mower. It mows perfectly flat across the yard. The suspension makes the yard feel somewhat smooth, even though my yard's fairly bumpy. And it's been a great little mower. It starts up all the time. I wouldn't say it's loud. It's definitely not a quiet mower. I like my Citation XT is a little more quiet, but this one's definitely not too loud. If you do have some headphones, I definitely recommend wearing those. Other than that, you can't really go wrong with this mower. Hope this review was helpful and informational to you. Hopefully it helps you decide whether this is the mower for you or not. As far as acreage goes, I mow about 5/8 of an acre with this. I would say you could probably mow 1.5 acres with this one just fine. Now if you're going to have like a 3-acre property or bigger, you might want to move up to the Citation XT. Thank you guys for watching.